A wholesome, lovely game that defines so many childhoods is always open season for some weirdos to jump on the theory train. Especially such a game as Pokémon, where the whole point is rather bizarre in itself, aiming to capture tiny mutated, cute little creatures in jazzy baubles and then make them fight their friends and family. Wait, Jesus, is that what we were doing? Either way, let's whack out some of the stranger offerings from Kanto and beyond, covering both wizened old tales and icy fresh new ones in the process. Let's hope it's not too trubbish, eh? I promise that's the last pun, unless the mood takes me. So shine up those Pokeballs and settle in for some amusing content, as these are 8 crazy Pokemon fan theories that make the games even better. 8. Missing No. A glitch first found in the original Red, Blue and Green games, Missing No is a Pokemon encounter that manifests as a giant blob of static, coming up only with the name Missing No, an abbreviation of missing number. To catch it is a risky move for your save files, with the potential to corrupt everything in its path in a blaze of destruction, or to induce a hard reset. So what exactly is a Missing No? Supposedly a version of Marowak that evolves into Kangaskhan, it was taken out to have the Pokemon come from different evolutionary families, so Kangaskhan no longer has an evolutionary line, but their physical appearance still shows the connection between the two pretty obviously. However, for those that choose not to believe Game Freak would be so blasé as to release a game with broken code, it's been theorised that the Missing No is actually a Pokemon that's been left in its Pokeball too long, corrupting the light and data that the captured creature is stored as into one big old glitchy looking beastie. There's also the idea that Missing No is actually an unofficial Pokemon representative of glitches, in the same way we have Pokemon that stand for grass, psychic, and just about everything else imaginable. It was a conscious effort to throw a bone to the digital manifestations of Pokemans. 7. KOFFING and WEEZING are experiments. Looking at the rather painful assimilation of WEEZING, the evolution of KOFFING, it's not hard to imagine that something has gone a little wrong. From gleeful floating purple fart to pained gaseous monstrosity going multiple bodies out of his face, there's a bit of a difference between the two. Ask anyone about this amalgamation of KOFFING bodies, and the weird ones will tell you that it's from Team Rocket attempting to create their own ghost Pokemon by utilising their gas form. Failing miserably and making a mess in the process, they ended up with some haunted balls of stink instead, which is a pretty wild claim until you start to think about the shreds of evidence that tie in to this smelly tapestry. KOFFINGs and WEEZINGs are only found in the Pokemon Mansion in Kanto, an abandoned laboratory no less, meaning their origin point is a big thumbs up to this one. That they have the human symbol for poison emblazoned across them like a big warning sign only serves to further prove the point, that someone made it, really screwed the poor thing up, and tried to warn people off with a big scary sticker. It's human bones on the gassy masses as well, and since it doesn't look like they're going to have any inside them, it's all the more reason to think a person made the poison type. 6. N is a Pokemon. In Pokemon Black and White, you face up against Team Plasma leader N, that guy with the most beautiful flowing green locks and a fierce appetite for Pokemon rights. As such, he's at one with the tiny ball-dwelling beasties, and strangely enough, even able to talk to them, despite it being a completely unknown trait for humans to truly understand Pokemon language in this sort of way. With the main goal as defined as freeing Pokemon kind from human control, and some strange communication abilities unique to only him, it's only fair that there's some speculation that something a little strange is going on with the animal justice warrior. And when you take into account that coincidentally, after encounters with N, a Zoroark appears, all signs point to him being amongst the Poke ranks. Zoroarks are noted for their ability to mimic other living things in the same way as Ditto, though instead of transforming and having access to a moveset, Zoroarks disguise themselves physically, meaning they can impersonate a human as well. It would make sense that the N we encounter is actually a Zoroark in disguise, a member of the Pokemon species fighting for freedom from human capture. It would make sense that the N we encounter is actually a Zoroark, a member of the Pokemon species fighting for freedom from human capture. They were bound to get annoyed about it eventually. 5. Lorelei and Will are the same person. Based on appearance, both wear similar clothing with the same palette, both have hair that switches between red and purple, and Will even covers up his face, as if disguised. Lorelei and Will also have 2 of the same Pokemon in their parties, Slowbro and Jinx, and a shared collection of female-only creatures. Obviously, they present different sexes, but that doesn't necessarily stop them from being the same person, as we've met a canonically trans character in the game. One of the NPCs in XY tells you she used to be a black belt, an exclusively male title, before medical science, implying she's undergone reassignment surgery. Now that we know this is possible in the Pokémon world, there are ways to consider Lorelei and Will as one and the same. Some versions of this theory suggest that Lorelei is a man, but given Will's classically feminine stance, covering of the face perhaps in dysphoria, and then conversely Lorelei's confidence, it's more likely that if this theory is true, Lorelei is actually a transgender woman. Of course, as we meet Lorelei before Will during gameplay, it's also completely possible that Lorelei simply dresses as Will when it comes to his battles too. 4. In Sun and Moon, you're the rival. Newest base game release Sun and Moon felt like the most refreshing Pokémon adventure in years. Doing away with the standard formula to an extent, the change-up of gym mechanics is arguably the biggest development they've ever done, and the Alolan Pokémon were a breath of fresh air too. There is a theory that goes some way to explaining why Sun and Moon has such a different feel. You're not the protagonist, you're the rival. Unlike every other game, how the alleged rival picks the Pokémon you have type advantage over. This gives you an immediate upper hand against him whenever you two meet. But much like the rivals do in all the other games, you maintain this advantage throughout. It might not seem like much now, but playing through the first game and beating Lance in the league felt fantastic, only to discover that Blue had gotten there first, like he always does. In Sun and Moon, you're there first, every single time. Tied together with How's sweet and helpful nature along with his fairly blank personality, and it points to one thing. How is the protagonist of this story, and you're the rival who's always one step ahead. 3. Ash is dead. Oh god, I didn't realise. A deviation to the television series for just a moment. A lot of TV shows have a protagonist is dead theory somewhere, but here, it's got some actual corpsey legs. Ash doesn't age, and, hang in with me here, it's key in establishing that something isn't quite right. In the likes of Family Guy or The Simpsons, while there are minor developments in their hometowns, it feels like the episodes could occur in almost any order without much difference to the plot. In Pokémon, Ash clearly makes progress, moving from town to town, region to region, losing league to league. One of the main ropes tying this theory together is the legendary Johto Pokémon Ho-Oh. Soon after Ash's near-death experience with a swarm of Spearow, he sees the creature sparkling through the air. Despite the fact that Ash is in Kanto, Johto is nearby and it's expected Ho-Oh would roam the skies freely, being a mighty bird and all. Ho-Oh is said to grant eternal happiness to all who see it. Is it a symbol of Ash in heaven? Perhaps this is why Ash loses the league every time, it gives him a sense of purpose. If he wins, that purpose is over. I guess it's nice to think that Ash has the same dedication to these Pokémon games as we do. 2. The Great War. Ah, a classic. Ever wondered why so many fathers in the Pokémon world are nowhere to be seen? Not only that, but there are children out exploring the world as if they were mature adults, and in some cases young characters like Brock, Misty and Blue, they're holding down gyms. One theory suggests it's because a lot of adult male characters died in the Great Pokémon War. The fact there was a war with Pokémon involved is just straight up canon. Lieutenant Surge tells you as much when you battle him in the Kanto region. It makes sense too. Humans have always found more and more elaborate ways to kill each other in warfare. In a world with Arcanines and Alakazams, why wouldn't they be weaponized? In fact, Lieutenant Surge typifies the adults you meet in Pokémon. The majority of them are either older, like that dude who shows you how to catch Weedle, gym leaders, scientists, therefore not on the front lines, or members of Team Rocket. 1. Blue's RATICATE died. The theory that you, the player, killed Blue's Raticate on the SS Anne is one of the most well-known Pokémon theories. In case you haven't heard it, the basic idea is that after you battle on the SS Anne, Blue cannot get to a Pokécenter in time to save his injured Pokémon from your battle. As a result, his Raticate dies, and we are terrible, terrible people. While the rest of his Poké Party stays with him, that is the last time we see Raticate, and interestingly, there is a considerable amount of evidence that it did indeed die. When you next see Blue in Pokémon Tower, he literally says, "Do you know what it's like to have a Pokémon die?" implying that he does. Others claim that he says, "What are you doing here? Your Pokémon doesn't look dead." Again, reinforcing that he would know what a dead one looks like. The tower is infamous as a Pokémon graveyard where people go to mourn their lost Pokies. Perhaps Blue is there to say goodbye to Raticate. What's even more interesting is the fact Blue tells you he's after a Cubone, meaning there's a free slot in his party, a free slot where Raticate once was. And that's our list. What Pokémon theories get your Tangellas all knotted up? Share your thoughts in the comments section below. I've been Ash, and this has been WhatCulture Gaming. Make sure to subscribe to the WhatCulture YouTube channel for more lists like this, and don't forget to visit whatculture.com for daily news and articles. Thanks for watching!